On December 17th, 2023, the people of Buenos Aires awoke to destruction and chaos. Overnight, a catastrophic storm had torn through the region, bringing tragedy and turmoil with its 155 kilometers per h winds. The storm moved through the city with unrelenting fury, devastating buildings, downing power lines, uprooting trees, and trapping residents in flooded streets. 13 souls perished in the maelstrom, their lives cut short by the tempest's rage. Hello, and welcome to Unpredictable Planet. Many more were injured, overwhelmed emergency rooms, inundated with the battered victims of nature's violence. Aeropark airports saw planes thrown about by the pounding gales, the aircraft tossed as though they were paper. A stage came crashing down mid-concert at Palermo Racecourse, injuring performers and spectators alike. But perhaps most horrifying was the collapse of the roof at Club del Norte during a crowded skating festival. 13 partygoers were crushed as the roof caved in. The morning after, Buenos Aires residents emerged to find their beloved city transformed into a disaster zone.
Estudiante, boludo.
The damage was catastrophic, the death toll rising. In the wake of the storm's madness, they now face water shortages, power outages, and impassable roads. It will take immense effort to rebuild what was lost as ambulances continue to scream through the rubble-strewn streets. But the people of Buenos Aires are strong. With solidarity and perseverance, they will recover in time, though the shadow of December the 17th of May linger for years. The extreme weather event that devastated Buenos Aires on December 17th, 2023 began as an unexpected tempest, bringing tragedy and chaos with its arrival. By midday, the National Meteorological Agency had issued an urgent orange warning for intense wind gusts and heavy rainfall. But for local residents, the ferocious storm came without precedence, as earlier forecasts had shown no signs of concern. Whipped into a fury by high-altitude winds, the gathering storm clouds unleashed their rage on the coastal city in the early afternoon. Bahia Blanca suffered the first hits as destructive gales drove sheets of rain through the port's streets. Striking with barely warning, the storm's 93-mile-per-hour winds and intense downpour quickly overwhelmed drainage systems, flooding roadways. Power lines swayed and snapped, extinguishing electricity as surging waters submerged cars. Gusts tore at buildings, ripping away rooftops and raining shattered glass from broken windows onto the populated streets below. Falling debris turned deadly while residents scrambled for shelter from the dangerous winds. Many trees, no match for the storm's primal strength, splintered and collapsed, crushing cars and blocking major intersections. By nightfall, first responders were inundated with calls for rescue and aid, with towards 1,000 collapsed structures and residential areas plunged into darkness. Overwhelmed emergency teams raced to clear roads and restore power. Hardest hit was the Palermo district, home to numerous large parks and recreation facilities. There, hundreds of families who had gathered for an outdoor music festival found themselves trapped. The event headliner, popular rapper Bresh, was midway through his set when squadrons of emergency vehicles screamed onto the scene. Authorities urgently commanded the show's cancellation seconds before gale forces toppled the towering stage onto terrified audience members. Though shaken, miraculously, no lives were lost. Across town, however, a tragic scene unfolded at Club del Norte's indoor skating rink. Packed with over 500 skaters, event staff were caught unaware when hurricane winds shredded the building's roof. Unable to escape, 13 were crushed beneath the collapsed ceiling and falling debris. The disturbing incident accounted for nearly all storm-related deaths within Buenos Aires. In response, firefighters and medical personnel were quick to arrive, descending on the club to pull victims from the wreckage. Meanwhile, rugby stadium Estadio Olimpo and basketball arena Dow Center were hastily converted to crisis shelters. Injured skaters were transported to overflowing hospitals, while 125 shaken survivors took refuge inside the arena's walls. Yet Club del Norte was not the last structure to fail against the storm's brute strength. 96 more rooftops detonated under pressure from the raging gusts. And hundreds of telephone poles and trees were felled, severing above-ground power lines. Thus, evacuation centers have opened shelters to house hundreds left temporarily homeless. Overflow has also strained medical infrastructure as hospitals work to accommodate the rising influx of wounded citizens. Now, 1 week beyond the fateful tempest, Buenos Aires begins the lengthy healing process. 13 tragic deaths weigh heavily on residents working to restore routine. And during this reflective period, people have come together in solidarity. From ordinary citizens to heads of state, there is unanimous commitment to rebuild. The roadway to renewal looks long and difficult, but buoyed by community strength, Argentina stands united behind its legendary capital city. A great city weathers many storms, both real and metaphorical. Buenos Aires has survived economic depressions, times of political unrest, and other turbulent eras. But at times, the forces of nature arise to remind even the proudest metropolis of its vulnerabilities. Such was the case on the traumatic evening of December 17th. But the elders will honor those lost decades prior and speak in solemn tones of the city's darkest, windiest night. Though the storm may blow over, what happened here should never be forgotten. Thanks for watching.